Adding another pup to the family? I currently have 3 dogs, and we always seem to be a multi-dog household here. As a fear-free certified dog trainer, I want to guide you through the process of bringing a new puppy to a home that already has another dog. I've got some great tips to make this a smooth transition for your new pup and your older dog. I'm also going to review some frequently asked questions about new puppies. But first, I want to ask you a few questions just to get your mind in the right spot for this new arrival. All right, my first question for you is your older dog a good fit for a new puppy in the home? Now, this is really important because if the older dog's not gonna do well with a young puppy, it's gonna be a lot more work and also some heartache for you. You'll definitely be able to work with the puppy to respect the older dog's wishes, but depending on the dogs, you might have to keep them separated a lot of the time. Sadly, I've heard of people who have to keep the pup and the older dog separated 100% of the time. I especially want you to be aware of the work that's going to go into managing a puppy if you have a senior dog. Older dogs often have aches and pains, and mouthy, jumpy puppies can make the conditions worse. Senior dogs don't usually find puppies to be very interesting, and they don't usually like their play style. If you have a senior dog with health conditions, either diagnosed or suspected, I suggest you waiting until you no longer need to care for a senior dog before adding the stress of a puppy to the dog's life and to yours. I always cringe when people with senior dogs who clearly wish to live out their days relaxing in the sun rays or snuggled with their favorite human on the couch in the evenings are forced to live out their remaining days stressed and uncomfortable when a new or rambunctious puppy is added to the home. I do get bummed when the owners tell me that they're just hoping the senior dog teaches the pup how to be a good dog. Anyway, your senior dog isn't necessarily going to be young again with a new puppy around, and it could make his or her remaining years stressful. It might work out great, but be aware it doesn't always work out that way, that the older dog shows the new pup the ropes. This leads me to my next question for you. Is your home set up for separating the dogs temporarily or maybe even permanently? Now, Harper, my Great Dane, was 5 when Pickles came to us. Harper was always great with the pups. She just had a natural way with them, and they learned a lot from her. But as she got older, she needed to be kept separate from the other dogs unless we were there to supervise the interaction, because I didn't want her to get hurt. Their play style became too much for my old girl to handle. And when puppies are young, even if they're large like my Harper, they need crate time to help them rest well and have that downtime. Now, this gives the other dog a break and keeps them out of trouble. Now, you don't want both dogs playing nonstop all day. This is not the ideal way to exercise a puppy. This actually leads to excessive overstimulation, and an overstimulated, overtired puppy displays a lot of unwanted behaviors. Now, your 8-week-old pup might seem like she can sleep anywhere and isn't chewing cords or furniture, but this will change. And if your pup isn't fully established in the crate, you're gonna wish he was. Take it from me, start crate training as soon as possible when the puppy comes home. Now, if you're not sure how to get started, this video here can guide you with some awesome crate training tips. Harper did really great in a crate as a puppy, and when she was older, she graduated to her own room. All right, next question. Is the puppy breed and genetics and size a good fit for your older dog? Now, you might find that a big size difference is problematic, especially if the energetic and bouncy puppy is a lot bigger than your older dog. I've heard from people with Yorkies who get a Labrador as their second pup. Even from day one, that size difference can be a challenge. In addition, if your puppy is from a working line or has a big need for a job, like a Border Collie or a German Shepherd, you might have to work harder to help the 2 dogs get along. You don't want your Border Collie constantly herding or nipping at the back legs of your older dog. Review the breed traits of your puppy for things that won't be a good fit for the temperament of your older dog. Certain breeds or genetic lines simply do better as solo dogs in a home. Now, another question. Do you have time for training a puppy while still meeting the needs of your older dog? Now, puppies are a lot of work. He or she's going to take up a lot of your time, but your older dog still has needs too. Just make sure you're able to fulfill both of their needs. Or maybe you have family members or friends that could help you out. If your older dog is now getting less of your attention and is constantly harassed by an energetic puppy, you might see some unwanted or destructive behaviors crop up. All right, another question I like to ask is, do you love the behavior of your older dog, which will likely be mimicked by the puppy? I know some people want to get a puppy while they still have an older dog, so the older dog will teach the puppy good manners. It doesn't quite work like that. Now, the younger puppy will definitely learn from the older dog, but you can't rely on the older one to teach the puppy how to live in a human world. That's your job. However, if the older dog has some habits you don't like, such as barking at strangers or pulling on the leash, these behaviors behaviors are going to be mimicked by the younger one, making your training harder. Puppies pick up on bad habits from older dogs, but still have to be taught good manners from humans. All right, I have 2 more quick questions, then we're going to get to some questions most new puppy owners have on this topic. Next question, are you prepared for the financial cost of another dog, including sitters and groomers and vet visits? 2 dogs definitely bring more opportunity for chaos, like a potential fight or maybe an accidental injury from play. We do recommend pet insurance to protect against really expensive treatments or surgeries. I want you to watch this video if you want to know the best way to decide on pet insurance companies. I don't have a specific company that I recommend, but I can tell you what to look for. And next, are you familiar with canine body language well enough to understand how the dogs are communicating with each other? Dogs have their own language and they'll be using it, but you're going to need to be familiar with canine communication as well so that you can advocate for one or the other if the interaction's not comfortable. Sometimes stress signals are subtle, so you'll probably need to study up to be familiar with how 2 dogs communicate. This is important even if you have just 1 dog, but it's very important if you have more than 1. Okay, let's get to your questions. How do you introduce 2 for the best chance of being BFFs? Well, for the best chance of success, I need you to take the introductions really slowly. We don't recommend introductions for the first few days. Believe me, your older dog knows there's a new creature in the house and the puppy knows there's another dog there too. Let them learn that they don't have to interact all the time. And keep the puppy contained and give the older dog as much of his normal space as possible. When you're ready to introduce them, you're going to create a couple of training sessions with both dogs on a leash and at a distance. You're going to allow them to see each other at that distance, and they each get treats in the presence of each other. After about 10 seconds, remove dogs from each other's sights and stop the treats. Now the goal here is to create a one-to-one positive association with each other without the dogs getting too excited. What we're actually doing here is creating neutrality where they see each other and then good things happen and then there's no interaction. It's just a neutral experience. With time, you can allow them to get closer and eventually they can interact if everything is going well and you're not seeing any stress signals. Throwing them together without a little pre-training is not the best way to help them learn to get used to each other. And if you're not familiar with the process or you want to see it in action, we actually have an entire course in our online puppy training program about puppies and other pets that can guide you. All right, another question I get a lot is, how long should they be allowed to interact? Well, this is another place where canine body language is going to help you. So most of the time, an older dog interacting with a younger puppy should be fairly short. Puppies get overstimulated very quickly, so watch body language and end when you see signs of stress. Definitely intervene if you see the puppy isn't listening to the older dog's signals like, hey, no more. And if you notice the puppy getting overwhelmed and more crazy than usual, stop the session. Most of the time, play sessions with a young puppy should be about 5 to 10 minutes. End before it goes south. I also love it when people ask me, how do you know if the play date is healthy? That means they're really paying attention and want to advocate for both dogs. So ideally, healthy play looks like an even game of tag back and forth. If one dog is constantly running away or trying to hide or climb onto someone's lap, this is not healthy play. And please, do not listen to anyone or even a trainer who says the dogs are just gonna figure it out or they need to establish who's alpha. The figure it out method is not effective. It would be like allowing 2 3-year-old children to figure out what to do if one of them's pulling the other one's hair. Their brains aren't developed enough for figure it out. Another question I get is, how do you teach the puppy not to jump or bite on the older dog? Well, puppies are jumpy and mouthy, and most older dogs are not fond of the behavior. So if you see your younger dog acting in an impolite manner, it's time to end the play session. Or try taking a break and see if the behavior continues when they resume play. Taking a break teaches the puppy to listen to the older dog's signals and also teaches the puppy that she can't continue to play when she's jumpy. Consider lining up another puppy for a play date, which usually results in a more similar play style. It's going to give your older dog a break from the puppy too. Finally, how do you walk 2 dogs on a leash? This is a good question. Well, I want you to think about walking 2 dogs on a leash like making an Olympic team for your country. It's going to take a lot of individual practice before team members can come together and perform on a big stage. Puppies need a lot of practice with leash skills before they're even ready for a traditional neighborhood walk. If you try to take a puppy and an older dog out at the same time, inevitably the puppy's going to want to play with the other dog. And then both dogs are going to want to pull full steam ahead to get to first position or sniff and explore first. before the other dog. The older dog's going to be very distracting to the new puppy, who's still remembering all the leash skills you taught back home. So the short answer is puppies and older dogs are not ready to walk together for quite some time, if at all. And while working on leash skills with the puppy, I need you to consider a different kind of walk called a decompression walk, really for both dogs, separately. So to learn more about what makes up a decompression walk and how it's different and even better than neighborhood walks, I want you to check out this video here. This is going to help your puppy burn off some energy and get great enrichment in and be calming for both dogs separately. Now, if you have two humans, you can try taking both dogs on the same decompression walk, but remember, separate them so they both have their own individual sniffing time without the threat of overstimulation. All right, I've loaded you up with some important information. Are you ready for a multi-dog household? They can be a little more complicated than having just one dog, so if you find you need more help, you can get some good information in our online puppy training program. I'll put the link in the description below the video. You can actually start training minutes after you enroll. So anytime you feel like you need help, it's there for you. All right, I'm Michelle Lennon. My team and I wish you the best of luck as your family grows with the addition of a new pup to your home.